Don't try and come on here and put on some big act. You're not fooling nobody.
Babe, you are a bullshitting bastard. I've had enough of your shit.
You're a liar.
Honestly,
you said,
you're a liar.
You said to me.
I'm done with it, Ali.
Polly said to me, you better watch your mouth.
I'm done with it. I don't give a shit. I'm not holding back anymore. I feel like a weight's been lifted.
Just a little disclaimer. I am not Alex's defense attorney. Neither do I know Alex as a person. But I like to call right, and wrong. So, do I feel Alex is wrong for some of the things that he's done in his marriage? Yes. Do I feel like Alex is wrong for some of the conversations or the comments he's made to some of the people? Yes. But I don't get why he's the only one facing the backlash. We had, what's his name, Ross, in front of the experts, actually throw an F-bomb at Alex. And nobody's offended by that. People have nothing to say about that. We've had him be called a purse with a Y by Sasha, and nobody's offended by that. But all of us have something to say about him. Oh, we don't like the way he speaks to women. We don't like the way that he does ABC. And for his wife to come and speak to him like that, well, she might as well have stayed at home then, because all she spent was 48 hours and she's on her next flight back home. She might as well have stayed at home, because whoever advised her or whoever wound her up to come and sort of go at him, it backfired. But anyway, sad to see, Casper and Emma go. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, share, definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 9, Episode 25. Another commitment ceremony. I wonder who's going home today. So you have Amy and Luke. They're in a good space. They're happy they're not part of the drama. They're happy to watch, but they're happy that they're not involved in the drama, which it seems that's good for them. You have Nate and Lacy. Nate is always in his own peaceful space. He's always shouting positive vibes. So he's not involved in the drama and is happy that him and his wife are okay. They're getting ready for the dinner party. You have Kieran and Christina. What do I think? I think Kieran's sudden turnaround says a lot. I feel like, because apparently during the honeymoon they were intimate, and then since the honeymoon he's complained about this cold sore, and it shouldn't have lasted that long. A cold sore can't last 5 weeks. No, that's impossible. You should have seen a GP by now. I feel like he liked her on the honeymoon until he came back and met the other couples. And I think he must have fancied one of the other wives. And this is why he's looked for an excuse not to be intimate with his wife, because he's saying that they've had conversations about what they want in life, and they're at different points in life. Their wants are totally different. He feels he doesn't want to be intimate with her because he doesn't want to lead her on, because he doesn't know how he feels about her. And it's like, so for the past 4 weeks, you've had us on this ride thinking everything was amazing, and then suddenly things have turned. Tell us the truth. Who is the out of the wives do you like? Make it make sense, because it's not making sense at all. And I don't get how Christina just continues to sit there and allow him to blame her PMDD as the reason why he's struggling with this marriage, because I feel like he must fancy another wife, and so he's trying to sort of detangle himself and not make himself look like the bad guy in the process, because obviously he's led everyone to believe that he really liked his wife, and suddenly there are issues. Those issues should have been found week 2, week 3, week 4. Suddenly we're week 5 or 6 and you're finding problems. I'm not buying it. You have Casper and Emma. Casper and Emma are struggling. Casper's ego was bruised when Emma said, I don't like you enough to be vulnerable, because he was the one who kept complaining that she's not my type, but she reminds me of my sister. And suddenly to find out that you're actually not her type is something that he wasn't prepared for. And it's something I'd been talking about before, that I wish these girls would turn around and tell these guys that actually you as well are not my type, because the guys always seem to sort of fall on, she's not my type, and use that as an excuse for not being attracted to someone. So for Casper to find out that actually she doesn't like you like that, I think is where his ego is bruised, and this is why he's decided not to participate. I think had Emma been fawning about him the way Polly does about Adam, then he would have been okay with that. But because Emma has told him that, no, actually I don't like you like that, his ego is bruised and he doesn't know what to do. He can't recover from that. He can't understand why she doesn't find him attractive, even though he said countless times he doesn't find her attractive. Anyway, You have Adam and Polly, they're in a good space. They're very happy. Adam is happy that he's been doing amazingly well. Polly is happy that he's been doing amazingly well. And for me, personally, I'm not buying that. I think Adam is looking at the long game. Adam wants to be on the show, so he's going to do and say the bare minimum so that he gets to stay. And Polly, because she's that desperate for attention, is going to eat up any little bit that he gives her and say she's happy when we all know it's not it. You have Sasha and Ross. Sasha and Ross have gone to the bottom of the pyramid for me. I feel like they're the worst couple in the experiment, in the sense that Ross has shown us who he is by allowing his wife to manipulate him. Sasha put out a video on TikTok where she was saying, she can't control Ross. Ross is a very strong man. He has his own opinion, so there's no way she was going to be able to control him and stop him from saying whatever he wanted to say. She blamed the experts. I don't know whether the video is still up. I just came across it on my For You page. And it's like, you are not taking responsible for your actions. You came to your husband and told him, fabricated information about what Alex said. I'm not saying Alex was right, but you didn't say what you did to start this or to kick this fight into gear. You sat there, you kept quiet, and then cried and said, Alex did this, Alex did this, Alex did this. Got to the dinner party, called Alex names. Had tables been turned and had Alex called you all the names that you called him, I know people will be writing to Ofcom in droves. They will be complaining bitterly about Alex, and because it's you, it's like, oh no, poor Sasha, poor thing. And for her to say, oh, my dad would be proud of you. Proud of him for what? For embarrassing himself, from being one of the best husbands to being one of the worst because of his behavior and his attitude. So you have Alex and Holly. They stayed in separate apartments. I feel like Holly's putting on a performance. I think the girls rang her and told her about what happened with Alex at the spa day, and she's come on some smoke because of that. And I think they've encouraged her to come on smoke, and this is why she has all this vim for Alex. The fact that she's complaining that Alex didn't realize that she missed her kids, make sense. Is he a mind reader? I'm not Alex's lawyer. I'm not defending Alex, but if you were talking about your kids a lot and saying how much you missed him, I assume he would have picked up on it. Something must have happened. Why is it he didn't know that you missed your children? So were you just going around quietly missing your children? Did you actually tell him that you missed your children? Did you call your children and you see how upset you were because you couldn't see your children? What is it? Make it make sense. Don't just assume someone is going to read your mind and know exactly what you think. So everybody arrives for the commitment ceremony, and I personally, I don't hate people because I don't know them personally, but my disdain and my dislike for Sasha and Ross has gone up the charts because of the way that Ross was looking at Alex when they walked in. And it's like, if you had beef with Alex, if you're this aggrieved, why not talk to him off camera? He's your friend. You say you were mates. Why not pull him aside off camera and have a conversation? You're putting on a performance because you've been told that her dad would really love this. Because if you were after, defending your wife's honor and after, getting this resolved, you'd have pulled him off camera, had a conversation. You and I are mates. I don't appreciate what you said to my wife. Why did you say that? Or what happened? The same way Adam did it. It's the same way he should have done it. But he is putting on a performance. He's making it known that he's very upset because his wife was disrespected. If his wife wears Claire's jewelry, so what? He needs to own it. And he shouldn't be upset because the truth has been revealed. So first up on the couch is Ross and Sasha. And I've never disliked a couple more than I dislike these two people, and I don't know them as people, but what I've seen of them has left a very bad taste in my mouth. So they sit down, and so you have Paul sort of ask, we saw the issues that you had at the dinner party with Alex. Is there anything you'd like to say? And immediately, Ross throws an F-bomb. And it's like, Ross, you don't need to audition. You don't need to audition. We are not buying whatever you're selling. Yes, you're auditioning for your father-in-law. Yes, you're auditioning for your wife, but we are not bothered and we don't care. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, they're just as bad. Because Paul asks Alex, why did you not apologize? Because Ross is saying, all he needed to do was apologize. And it's like, what is he apologizing for? And if he is apologizing, is your wife going to apologize as well? Because she was just as bad. He did a name call. He said her jewelry was fake. She name called using vulgar words at the spa retreat and also in your face at the dinner party. So the idea that you would sit there and not acknowledge that, but would be so offended that, oh my God, this big black intimidating guy sort of said all these nasty things to your wife. Make it make sense. I don't get why Alex had to apologize, and I don't get why he was the only one who apologized, because at the end of the day, Sasha's not innocent. Sasha is just as bad, and the guys that were at the retreat, including Polly herself, know that she's just as bad, because she said some things that were very, very unbecoming of a pageant queen. So the idea that she would be so offended that Alex didn't apologize, but she can get away without apologizing, doesn't make sense. She put up a TikTok where she was blaming everybody but herself and still didn't apologize. And it's like, ma'am, you need a mirror. You need a mirror. Just look in the mirror and see exactly what's going on and stop wasting our time. They're then asked, we know you've had struggles this week. And Sasha has the audacity to say, oh, we struggled because of a text that Alex sent. And so that was our reason for our struggle. And it's like, no. The two of you have been struggling and you've been able to hide it all along, and suddenly the mask is off and now the viewers and everybody is seeing that you're not actually as perfect as you've been making out, because Alex sending a message should not be reason enough for your husband to take off his ring and throw it at you and tell you that he's done and start packing his bags. Something must have been going on that we were not aware of, and the two of you have decided to keep quiet about it. And the fact that you made it very light and said, oh, he made up for it, he wrote me a letter and he bought me some jewelry, and it's like, we need to see the receipt. We need to see the receipt, because it might be, they went to Argos and they bought her a bracelet or something, and now she's upset that Alex is calling her out that her husband bought her fake jewelry. Make it make sense. I don't get it. They said stay. Am I surprised? No. They want to stay. Everybody wants to be on the show for clout. So I'm not surprised that they stayed. And I wouldn't be surprised if they stay till the very end and say they're going to stay together, only for things to break apart, because we've already heard that apparently they separated. So next up is Polly and Adam. And for me personally, I don't get it. Because Polly is very excited. Apparently this has been their best week in the experiment. They talk about the date that Adam planned, and for me that's the bare minimum. As Alex said. And I don't get why every single time we have to hear what Polly wants. We've never sat down and heard what Adam wants, outside of the fact that she's not his type. That's all we've heard, but we've never heard her do anything for him that he's asked for, that he said he likes. And so for them to say, it was easy for me to find the things I didn't like about him, he doesn't tell me that I'm beautiful. Well, maybe you don't meet his standard of what he considers to be beautiful. Maybe. Have you ever thought of that, Sherlock Holmes? Maybe you don't meet his standard of beautiful. Oh, and he doesn't show me enough PDA. And it's like, please, what are you doing for him? You want PDA. He is not a PDA person. You have to meet each other somewhere. You want PDA. He doesn't want PDA. So maybe the two of you need to do your PDA in your room. Maybe that's where you need to do it. Maybe. And then if he's comfortable doing it in private, then you can come out and sort of show it out to everybody else. But you can't continue to ask him for what you want and say, oh, I'm fed up of asking for what I want. What does he want from this relationship, outside of the fact that he wants to stay on the show so that he can get clout? What else does he want? Make it make sense. They both choose to stay. Am I surprised? No, they're going to ride this horse to the very end, as far as I'm concerned. Next up is Casper and Emma. What can I say? I think they didn't stand a chance. From the wedding, the moment that Casper said Emma reminds him of his sister, we all knew that it was done. It was over before it even started. For some reason, something about Emma reminded him of his sister. Whether it was her strength and her lack of vulnerability, something about her reminded him of his sister. And so from that moment, I felt like he kept looking for an excuse. The first commitment ceremony, he went off at the experts because he said, this is not what I asked for. And the experts sort of pushed back. And so then he stayed in the experiment, in my opinion, looking for a justifiable reason to leave. And so when he wrote leave, he expected Emma to write leave. When she didn't write leave, he was left in this space where he didn't know what to do with himself because he didn't want to be the bad guy. And I think them being in the countryside actually really helped them, because this was an environment he was familiar with when they went to the couples retreat. And so coming back from that, things just went left. Yes, Casper was upset that Emma said she didn't like him enough to be vulnerable around him. I give it to Mel for calling him out and telling him that you also said some things that she didn't like, but she never pulled you on it. She never sort of made a big deal about it. So you can't be upset that, she says she doesn't like you enough to be vulnerable around you. When you came to us and said, this is not what I asked for. You gave me what I didn't ask for. You were messing with my life. You were screaming and shouting at the experts. So I give it to the experts for actually making him see that, buddy, this is not just a you thing. It's a her thing as well. So I give them credit for saying this marriage is not working. Yes, they both came in wanting love, but their lack of experience, I feel, is something that hindered their ability to make things work in their relationship. Because yes, they did try to see if they could make it work, but their lack of experience, of relationship experience, is why they are where they are, in the sense that they couldn't sort of prioritize somebody else, or they couldn't see things from somebody else's point of view. They were always the aggrieved person. They were always looking at their point of view and why are things going this way. When the experts gave them homework to sort of put into practice to develop their relationship, they saw it as chores or tasks that they needed to accomplish to move to the next stage. It wasn't because they were doing it out of love or affection for their partner, but it was more out of obligation. And this is why they struggled, because everything was a checklist, was being a tick. Oh yes, we've done this, let's move on to the next stage. We've done this. I feel like they should have asked Emma for her decision first, because the last time Casper got to say leave, I feel in this situation Emma should have been given the first opportunity to reject this man. This man shouldn't have been allowed to say he wants to leave before her. That's just my opinion. Oh, you could see that Christina was devastated. I think she was very close friends with Emma, so she was devastated. Mrs. Attention Seeker Sasha was there. She was trying to make it about her, and it's like, please keep quiet. We've never seen you have conversations with Emma unless it's been off camera. So I'm really not buying your tears. They're crocodile tears as far as I'm concerned. I have so much dislike for this woman. I'm not normally like this. I don't know why I'm doing this. I apologize. Next up is Amy and Luke. I feel sorry for Luke, because Luke really hasn't had an amazing time on this show, because every time he either has to babysit someone or he has to sort of separate people, because when all the drama was happening with Ross and Sasha, he had to move to sit in between Alex and his wife, because his wife didn't, because Holly was saying she can't sit next to Alex. And now he's here at the commitment ceremony thinking that things have been going amazing, only for his wife to throw him under the bus, in my opinion, because she complains that, she thinks he doesn't know when to stop. He doesn't know the boundaries, or he doesn't respect the boundaries, because she is, as he said, a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. And so she feels like there are some things that he says that are not appropriate, and he needs to learn to read the room. And he's on his part is saying, the problem is I don't know when to say what, because she says she wants me to say certain things in private, but when I say them in private, she looks like she gets the ick. So I don't know when to say what and what to say when. And I feel it's just a conversation they need to have. They need to sit down and they need to set boundaries. He needs to tell her what's acceptable for him, and she needs to tell him what's acceptable for her. Anyway, and then they come across, the next thing is she talks about the picture from the salsa class, and she says, she sent a picture to, her husband, and he, on his part, Luke, sent a message to her saying that, I'm happy that that's not you, because you always carry yourself with class and integrity. And so had that been you in the picture, I would have had to have a conversation with you, because he didn't say anything that he didn't say at the spa, because when the picture came to the spa, he actually said it. He said that, I am happy that this is not my wife, because at the end of the day, if this was my wife, we would have had to have a conversation, because I can't be having my wife's purse, next to somebody else's pocket. And so for her to feel offended by that, I don't get it. He's just setting boundaries, just as she is setting boundaries. And then for Lacy to chime in, so are you saying I'm not classy? And it's like, Lacy, press rewind. You jumped and straddled this guy. You flipped yourself upside down over this guy and had this guy looking at you for JJ. And then from there, you were on the floor. Was that classy? That's not dancing. That's not dancing. That's very provocative. Had anyone done that, I bet you Polly would have had something to say. You yourself would have had something to say because you complained about a kiss. So you complained about Hannah kissing Orson, but you straddled your friend's husband and had your JJ right up in his face. And yet now you're aggrieved because you've been told it's not classy. You're the one who's calling yourself not classy. He didn't say you're not classy. It's you who said that. Anyway, she tried to at him, and I was happy that, Luke told her, I didn't say you're not classy. You are saying it. Don't put words in my mouth, because these girls have a habit of putting words in people's mouths and then blaming the people to say, oh, you did this to me, when they are the ones that started the conversation. He didn't bring you in it, so don't start coming in it and start crying. It's just that your husband doesn't like drama. I bet you anything, if Polly had done exactly the same thing you had done with somebody else's husband, Adam would have had an issue. But because it's him, he's okay. When Polly wanted to twist to somebody else's husband, he kicked off. So just because Adam and Nate don't like drama doesn't mean what you did was right. So apologize and keep it moving. So next up is Nate and Lacy. Nate and Lacy, I liked them, but I think they're now putting on a performance. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Because they speak about the fact that Nate bought her some flowers and she was very happy with the flowers. And so he's doing kind gestures for her. And it's like every time we've heard him do something for her, we've never heard her do anything for him. And why didn't she discuss the fact that she brought up that he's shallow? He doesn't have any depth. Why didn't she bring that up? Why are they trying to paint this positive picture in front of the experts? Side eye. And so the fact that she said, with the dance class, there's a lot of trust. Well, they're both saying we have a lot of trust for one another. It's not about trust. It's about respect. It's about respecting your partner and respecting the boundaries you have in your relationship. Yes, they have trust for one another, but at the end of the day, if another woman was doing that to Nate, would Lacy still feel the same? For her to say she was freestyling, you can freestyle all you want, love, but would you feel the same about your husband doing the same thing with somebody else? With Adam, he's on cloud 9 because Adam has always fancied Lacy. So for him, nothing is different. He's happy he got to experience that. So he's not in any way offended or affected by whatever drama happened. He's just smiling like, he's won the lottery. For Nate to say he himself is comfortable in himself and so he's not affected in any way by her dancing with somebody else. I think there's a bit of pokies there. I feel like there's a bit of pokies. I feel like there's a conversation that they had off camera in order for them to be in the space that they're in, because there's no way if Lacy kicked off because Hannah kissed Orson, they would suddenly be, she would be okay with straddling somebody else's husband, or her husband would be okay with her straddling somebody else's husband. That's just my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. I don't know. They both choose to stay. Am I surprised? No. But I feel like they're now putting on a performance as the perfect couple, since that title has been sort of taken away and they have decided to rise up to the top. So they're going to say and do anything to appear like they're the perfect bunch. Next up is Kieran and Christina. I'm going to say it again. It's either Kieran and Christina have been pushed to create drama by the producers because they don't want the viewers to know that they're going to say yes on Final Vows, or Kieran has found someone he likes better in the experiment, so he's now looking for an excuse as to what he can say in order to derail this relationship. Because for him, he's saying he's decided to prioritize himself. He's tired of putting other people first. He's had to carry people in the relationship. And Christina is sitting there and she's not saying anything. And I'm like, this is the problem I have on Married at First Sight, because there's always that one person who really wants to get married. And because they really want to get married, they put up with a lot of crap from their partner just because they don't want to say or do anything that will upset them. For him to say, we sat down and we sat down and I asked her, what do you want more? Do you want to be married or do you want a career? And she says she wants to be married. And it's like, well, if you come on to Married at First Sight, I would assume the idea is you want to prioritize marriage. So for you to say you don't prioritize the same things, that tells me that you, Kieran, came onto the show for clout. That's it. If you're not prioritizing marriage, and if you're on the show saying that you value your career first or your development first, that means you're not on the show for marriage. You're on the show for clout. How do you make it make sense? Make it make sense? Because at the end of the day, that is what you're saying, in my opinion. If you're saying you're not prioritizing marriage and you're on a marriage show, that means that you're there to be famous. And I'm going to stick to that. For him to say, I'm going to take time out and really ask myself, what do I want from this relationship? I don't want to lose Christina, but I need to prioritize myself. And it's like, well, if you value her, then why are you questioning the relationship? What is it about her in particular that you question? Make it known to us so that we understand. Don't continue to sort of talk from both sides of your mouth. Either you like this girl and you see a future with her, or you don't like her and so you want to move on. You don't need to waste our time telling us, oh, I need to think. You've had 5 weeks to think. By now you should have thought yourself out of everything, and you should know exactly what you want to do. I feel like Christina needs to do an Emma, and she needs to check out and show this guy that you're not the prize. We're both the prize. So if you don't see my worth, I'm going to move on to the person that sees my worth. They both choose to stay. Surprised? No. Lastly is Alex and Holly. Okay, what do I think? I think Holly was hyped up by a lot of people and she was wound and ready to go. They changed the Duracell batteries and so she was on a mission, because I feel like they all told her, whether it's her friends at home and the girls in the experiment, riled her up and told her that you can't put up with what Alex is dishing you. You have to give him a piece of your mind and you have to hold him accountable, which is what I feel like she came wanting to do, because she was, I've remembered who I am. I've remembered that I don't tolerate this. And it's like, Holly, throughout the experiment, you said that Alex has made you feel so good about yourself. No man has ever done that for you. And suddenly he's now the most vile person you could think of. When did he go from this amazing guy who compliments you, who shows you so much love, to suddenly being the guy that's, taken away your identity, the guy that has taken away your voice? I feel like some people told her what sort of buzzwords to use to get her point across. And I give credit to Paul for saying that, Holly, you're not innocent. You're just as bad as he is, because you have been pointing and shouting at him. So 2 wrongs don't make a right. If she had come and sat down and had a conversation the way Amy and Luke had a conversation, then they would have been fine. I give Alex credit. I'm not Alex's spokesperson. I'm not Alex's lawyer. But at the end of the day, as he said, he's handled himself very well in a lot of situations. Because when Ross threw the F-bomb at him, had he retaliated, people would have gone against him. Nobody's upset with Ross for doing that. Nobody's upset with, Sasha for calling him a purse with a Y, but they're upset with him, saying that they don't like the way he speaks to women. What about the way the women have spoken to him? What about the way some women have spoken to the other guys during the experiment? Make that make sense. I have a feeling that Holly thought that Alex would want to stay in this marriage and would want to make things work for another week. That's why she was taken aback when he said he wants to leave. You could actually see her take a breath in, because this is not what she expected. I think she expected to come in, write leave, and then have to stay because he wrote stay. And then maybe they would improve on things, or should continue sort of being a hassle for him. And so she was taken aback when he said leave. For her to say, well, I've been upset, I've been crying about my children and he's never asked me. He already said he wanted someone without children. Blame it on the experts who matched you with someone with no children. Because he says he doesn't have that urge to sort of worry about children. And you could tell that the story she told about Ryan and Shannon must have been Porky's, because you could see Alex's face comes with subtitles. It comes with subtitles. So you can tell what he's thinking majority of the time. And you could tell he was shocked by what she was saying, because it wasn't true. That's what I'm going to believe. I don't know. We'll hear at the reunion what happened. And for Holly to be surprised she's going, I think she thought she would have the empowerment moment where she had him begging her to stay because she wanted to leave. And so was very surprised that her train ticket down should have been a return, because she's now on her way back home. She didn't even spend 48 hours and she's on her next flight back home, or next train back home. What do I think? They're a typical example of don't listen to outside influences, or be mindful of the influence that you receive, or the advice you receive about your marriage, because now she is going home a single woman. Do I think Alex was her guy? No, I don't think so. I think they both came in with baggage, and I think Alex triggered a lot of things that have sort of affected Holly in her previous relationships, and this is why she always felt like she was sort of trying to fight or sort of empower herself from her previous traumas. That's what I'm going to say. So this week we lose Emma and Casper, and we also lose Alex and Holly. I wonder who's going to be the enemy next week, because they, as I said last week, every time someone leaves that was the villain, they always try and look for a new villain. And I have a feeling Lacy is going to try and now taint Luke as the villain. You could tell Luke empathized with Alex because of the hug that he gave him and the fact that he spoke to him. Everybody else, I think it was just a formality when they were hugging them. But at the end of the day, we all know. I think Alex walked out immediately afterward, after hugging people, because his wife had to run out as well. Holly, she had to leave. But you still had Casper and Emma in the room, so I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 24. Bye guys.